Hello everybody, this is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor, and we are in Amsterdam, site of the 2025 IADC World Drilling Conference. And with me right now is Graham Day of NOV, and we're going to have a little bit of an interesting video here. Graham and Rob Houston of Precision Drilling gave concurrent presentations on the implementation of robotics and automation on a land drilling rig, and we're going to hear different perspectives on this project. Graham on the NOV side and Rob on the Precision Drilling side. So we suggest that you also check out our video with Rob talking about this project from the Precision Drilling side. But we're going to hear about how NOV approached this project and some of the things that they did, some really cool stuff. So Graham, thank you so much for joining me today.
Stephen, thanks for having me.
So I'm going to ask a question that I'll also ask Rob here, and it's a pretty broad one to start off with. But why do this? I mean, obviously we hear so much about the value that automation provides on a rig, but from your perspective, why does NOV get involved with something like this?
Well, we're a technology company, Stephen, so I could say why not, right? Because it's super interesting, super interesting. But in all seriousness, you know, the offshore rigs have had mechanical handling to help the crews for a long time now. That's very normal offshore and very necessary, because the distances that heavy loads are being handled on, that you just can't do that with a human. So a couple of gaps and technology gaps existed, and that's offshore, the great mechanical handling systems that we have, they don't have the dexterity to do some of the jobs that we'd like to complete the picture. And then also that technology in the offshore world, to be quite frank with you, as much as we would have loved it, it's just not, it doesn't fit the land rig environment, rig moves, etc. And we needed a different solution, maybe even on a affordability basis also.
So alignment between stakeholders. I mean, anytime you hear about any kind of project like this, the alignment between the service company, the OEM, the rig contractor, the operator, it's so critical. So from your perspective, first of all, how important is that alignment in getting a project like this done? And were there any challenges in sort of achieving that alignment between companies?
Okay, great question again. It really is everything, but I think for me in the projects that I've been involved with, you've got to look at the alignment at three levels. So the executive alignment is the enabler, and that's great because you've got really good sponsorship from your leadership, but then you've got to go straight to the workplace. That's where the jobs happen. And if you have a culture on both sides where it's like, this can help us in our lives and make our daily operation and our daily work better, then you've got connection at the top, you've got an excited group of people at the coalface, if you like, at the work site. And then there's a group in the middle that are, you know, sometimes referred to middle management, operations management. You've got to bridge the gap between the two, and that can be a tough place. You have to love the support that you get from all three of those places. I hope that makes sense.
You got to have that support if you're going to get stuff like this done.
You really do.
Yep. So let's talk about KPIs. Obviously, you know, you're going to do a project like this and installing automation and robotics onto a land rig. Got to have some kind of performance.
Yes.
So what were we seeing out of the systems that we installed on this rig?
So what we're seeing is, in robotics, I'll go there. So the deliveries that we've made now, what we'll see is a continued enhancement as we tune those operations on the rig. So overall cycle times was something I alluded to, and the robotics are really one piece in the ecosystem. So we've got drawworks, iron roughneck, making connections, hoisting, and the robotics. And it's the completely integrated system that deliver the operational efficiencies that Rob is probably going to talk about and that our customers are looking for. So KPIs are essential. I think we all need to adopt the same mentality as the really great race crews do in Formula One or NASCAR, whichever one, I don't know which you like. But you know, they look at data and they optimize and they they win the race by doing it, and they win it in a safe, smart way. I think we need to do the same in our industry.
Well, auto racing is auto racing. So Formula One, NASCAR, they're both pretty cool.
You're my guy.
All right.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about what's next then. You had a
Yes.
whole thing in your presentation about sort of, we got to be prepared to do more with
Yep.
this. So we're pushing boundaries. So what's next when we look at sort of the next frontier with automation? What are you guys prepared to do?
So the theme of more really comes from practical reason of having the robots installed in the rig. If we stay with that one, is the analogy I would use is like a CNC machine, right? So if you set up a workshop, you've got an investment in CNC machines to do the work that you're doing, and the CNC machine picks up a lot of different heads to go and do a lot of different jobs to finish a machining job. You don't want to have to invest in individual CNCs to do individual movement. So we're trying to maximize all of the value we can from the robotics themselves. And then in terms of what's next, Stephen, I would say it's the integration of all of these systems. We've had process control with technologies like NOV and on-bottom automation. Coupling that to what we're doing with drill floor automation, I think is going to deliver very interesting things for the industry.
Well, Graham, that is a lot of really interesting stuff there. So we appreciate you giving the NOV perspective on this and learning more about robotics and automation. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for asking, Stephen.
And thank you for visiting drillingcontractor.org.